This is Cal, my combat achievement log Snowflake Iron Man. Cal is able to allocate levels and combat skills after completing a combat achievement. And what is Cal's ultimate goal? To kill every single notable boss in old school RuneScape. Last episode, we finished our longest grind yet, the 85 crafting grind, which netted us a Fury and 30 million. We also achieved some side goals like unlocking fairy rings, the root pouch, the lunar spellbook, Mage Arena 2K, and many more. And while last episode was focused on gear progression, today we put that gear to use for some combat achievements. I cannot stop looking at my gear. If you missed last episode, you missed it, Rain, because we are dripped out. Check out this magic bonus. We're boasting a hefty 90 magic accuracy, where at the beginning of last episode, we had a measly 55 magic accuracy. And don't worry, we're putting it to good use today. Now that I have best in slot magic gear, and by best in slot, I mean slightly below average magic gear, we're a bit of a problem. I just needed a little bit of power budget to become a real menace to some of these bosses. Yes, I'm bragging a bit, but if you try to stop me, I'll cut the brakes on a school bus. So enough screwing around. What boss is our first victim? Varrock has a rat problem. I'm not talking about the bots at the Grand Exchange. I'm not talking about the weirdos RPing at West Bank.
He died from heat stroke.
I'm not talking about this guy either. I am talking about Scurrius, which to mostly everyone is old news, but for us, I see some free CAs. As we all know, Scurrius is located in the Varrock sewers. But if somehow finding a boss in the most popular city of this entire game is too hard for you, you have this handsome little rat here that'll take you to the boss named Timothy. Yes, I named him. Also, this guy has a hat with a rat, which is not obtainable by players. Jagex, why would you do this? I need this. This is best in slot. Now, I'll level with you, I'm not sure how these kills will go. I'm 73 combat, which is actually huge, I'll explain why later, humble brag, but this boss is recommended for players combat level 60 and up. But all of my levels are in magic, and I mean, maybe it'll be easy? We're using Magic Dart, which maxes in 18 on 5 ticks, which makes me a little worried about our Pro Potion stack. These things are my lifeblood for CAs right now, so I don't want to concentrate too many of them on one CA if I can grab other CAs. Lastly, I should mention I've never done Scurrius before, but listen, if this boss gives me trouble, I will give you my OSRS veteran badge. I'll end this entire series on the spot in shame.
Alright, I want a private instance. And Jesus Christ, this thing has 500 hit points. It has 500 hit points, and I'm pretty sure that it heals. This is going to be so slow.
I'm sure all you nerds know how this boss works, but this was my first time fighting him. Here's my takeaway. He attacks with melee, he summons a horde, he heals, he attacks with range, he attacks with mage, he makes rocks fall from the ceiling. Simple, but fun boss. But I'm having two problems. The healing this guy does is slowing down these kills, and the horde absolutely destroys me, which in turn also lengthens the kill. I don't mind a grind, genuinely, but we have limited resources. Our prayer potion stack is what you see in my inventory. This is not sustainable long term.
It's dumb because this is obviously not a mechanically difficult boss, but just wow. Having a target who has mechanics is so foreign to me. This account has been fighting some pretty one-dimensional bosses for like 6 months, so it's pretty refreshing to fight something that has more steps than use a safe spot or use a protection prayer.
We grab our first combat achievement, Scurrius Novice, killing the boss once, but we need to assess. The first kill literally took 5 minutes and 30 seconds. It's making me rethink how many prayer potions I want to spend here. I expect to drink anywhere from 2 to 3 sips per fight, which is expensive for us, and I kinda need to be a potion pincher. Now, some of the CAs here are related to having Scurrius' spine, which is a 1 in 33 drop rate, and I unfortunately really just don't think that's feasible with my resources / DPS. So I'm making the executive decision to do 2 more CAs, as the other 2 are RNG dependent. However, I will give this the old college try 15 kills, just to see if we're a little lucky with that spine. We have some Randars in the bank, so we can make a few more potions before the 15 KC. But 15 is all I'm doing. Then we're done. Nada. No more. On further kills, I've realized I can obviously streamline some of this boss to be easier for me. My main issue is that these giant rats are so accurate and they hit through prayer. But the answer is I need to get these stuck behind the boss while he's eating, and I need them to block each other. And I also need to have them re-block each other when the boss walks through them, as it allows them to clip through each other. Something else I noticed, the last phase I should just pick a corner and have one rat on me while I select 2 to 3 tiles to step between for the falling rocks. I can be pretty slow on the learning curve, but I figured it out. I usually rely on my looks rather than my brains. We picked up Perfect Scurrius at 4 KC. Stop laughing. These are long kills. Having to play perfectly the whole time is tiring, and I'm old. Feel sorry for me. Next up, we completed 10 KC. This boss so far has given us 12 levels to play around with, which I'm super excited for what they're going towards. We grinded out 5 more KC for the lucky spine drop, but it didn't come.
Sad scam game.
But that wraps up Scurrius for now. I would give this boss a solid 10 out of 10 for a new player experience. I'm serious. This covers all the bases you could want for teaching people how to play later game content, but I'll be honest, 8 of those points come from Timothy outside. Herb lore, but who cares? What's really important is that our farm run netted us 66 prayer potions, more than enough for the CAs we have ahead of us today. The first CA getting lobbed at us is a pop fly. Hopefully I can catch it. Kill a Lizardman Shaman. Here's the deal. These things are deadly to me as I haven't gotten the Shazian armor yet. You need melee to obtain the armor set to completely negate their poison splash attack, which can deal up to 30 damage. 30 damage to my little noob ass is a 2-shot. Let's not get 2-shot. Now I can avoid this attack by employing the oldest trick in the book, moving 3 tiles. Other things to note, Lizardman Shaman have decent defenses against magic, but we don't have any choice but to use it. And I've gone ahead and punched our stats into a handy DPS calculator, which says we have around a 47% chance to hit. Not bad. Now let's go grab the supposedly free CA. Okay, honestly, I don't really know what I was worried about. Although I lost half an inventory of food to this minion just tail whipping me the whole time. I was kind of hyping up this shaman fight, but like I just kept dodging the poison splashes, so it was pretty boring and free. Who would have guessed? The God Gamer does it again. So we gained another 4 levels for completing a KC. I won't complain about that. And to be honest, Lizardman Shaman were just the warm-up. We're going to the Lizard Kings, or better known as the Dagannoth Kings. Yeah, Rex has some pretty good CAs for if you use magic, such as freezing him before killing him and getting KC respectively. And while getting Rex slurred to where he's nothing but a guy angrily looking you across from traffic after you cut him off, he is a bit of a pain to get to in the first place.
I have scrounged up all the best tank gear I can find for our DK's trip. I really think that the Adamant Full Helm pulls it all together.
If you didn't know, there are creatures called spin lops down at the DKs. These bad boys are what's going to cut our trip short. They poison you and they attack you with both magic and range. However, their attacks are considered typeless, so you can't pray against them, and both their range and mage attacks roll off your ranged defense, which explains the full tank gear. But even in full tank, we should be able to kill Rex due to his non-existent magic defense, so we go in tanky and we still do magic damage. So we have our tank armor, we have our spells, and we grab some anti-poison. Now we just have to get there. Well, as usual, getting to the Fremnik area is not easy for me, but after a short walk and a boat ride, we make it to Waterbirth Island. We now have to navigate the Waterbirth tunnels, which are a bit like human intestines, a long dark tunnel full of shit.
Alright, upon arriving here, I think I might be stupid. I need to be food maxing for extended trips, especially if I'm using lobsters, and I have 3 prayer potions for fun. Except it's not fun. Like, what the fuck was I thinking? I do not need all of these. I also brought 4 super anti-poisons. Each dose gives me like 6 minutes of poison immunity, which 6 times 16 doses is like, it's like an hour and a half of immunity. There's no way I'm staying down there for that long with this amount of food. But whatever, we're just gonna go and we're just gonna see how long we can stay for. I'm limit testing. That's just what I have to tell myself. I'm limit testing. I'm not stupid, okay?
We make our final descent, and I won't lie, I'm a little excited at the thought of us spooning a berserker ring. But who am I kidding? I literally go dry on almost every grind I do. So here's the strat if you're trying to lure Rex and you're too lazy to use an ult. You climb down the ladder and make sure only Supreme is aggroed to you, then you get Rex aggroed as well, and then you stand in the Rex safe spot. Now once you're here, make sure that your protect from range is on and that you have a lot of prayer points, and force close your client. Even though you're in combat, it'll log you out after 1 minute. Then when you log back in, Supreme won't be angry with you anymore and you can safe spot Rex as much as you like.
It is crazy that we're about to get a Berserker Ring on our first kill, and Steel Kite Shield. That's close enough, right?
Our first trip, I was only able to net 7 kills because of my terrible inventory choices. We still have 2 prayer potions and 3 super antis, but I'm out of food, so next run is gonna have to be better. Except it wasn't.
Holy shit, I just X-logged with like 20 prayer points with Supreme on me. Oh my god, I am so dead, man. Please don't be dead when I log in, please. Fuck.
Wouldn't be a Cal episode without something going wrong. However, I managed to trek back to Rex and get our 10kc Rex Champion Combat achievement. Give me those 4 levels. Also, my inventory looks a lot better. I still opted for the 4 super anti-poisons because I'm just a little optimistic Dagannoth killer. That's just who I am now. We pick up a Frozen King, the CA for killing Rex while he's immobilized. I use Snare. And then we wrap up our 25 kill count for Rex Adept. 25 kills in this terrible place. No ring to show for it. And I got my ass eaten by Spinlops, but at least at the end of the day, I can say, well, I can't really say much, to be fair. This is not all that impressive, actually. I can say we're done. We're done. It is finally time. It is finally time to train my favorite skill in old school RuneScape. We are adding the ranged combat style to our repertoire. The time has come. I will no longer be a magic one-trick pony. I'm actually so excited for this. So obviously, I'm not able to kill every boss in the game with just magic. So at some point, we were going to have to pick up both ranged and melee. So why did I pick ranged to train first over melee? Well, mostly because with ranged, I can spend levels on just one skill. Whereas if I were to train melee, I'd have to spend levels to train both attack and strength. I could do some shenanigans with the Maul using purely strength, but let's be real, it's inefficient for me to do that. Range is a much better route.
I'm rocking the legendary Oak Shortbow with a Fury. This just does not look right.
We immediately start training up our range in preparation for our next combat achievement, but I'll be damned if at level 30 range I don't go and get a backpack. So we run around completing Ernst the Chicken, and afterwards we thankfully have all the requirements ready to go and complete Animal Magnetism.
I look like I'm ready for school. I'm even wearing combat gear too.
Unfortunately, everything comes at a price. We went from level 13 range to level 30, eating up 17 levels, and we're just getting started. Next, we need to do one of RuneScape's most notorious quests, Underground Pass. I know this seems like a weird left turn, but trust me. In order for us to do Underground Pass, we needed 25 ranged anyway, so this has all been part of the plan. And after a long and grueling quest, we complete Underground Pass. And naturally, that means that we need to do Regicide afterward. Oh yeah, it's exactly what you think it is. We have got access to Zulrah. Oh, and what's that? You think I can't use the Zulrah shortcut? 76 agility. Yeah, I'm somewhat of a grinder. We're out here knocking goals out left and right, which means it's time to give Zulrah a try. Which I certainly did give it my best try, but here's the deal. I attempted this before the combat rebalance, and at my level, with Firewave, for me, this is not possible. It might be possible if I got some crazy RNG, but the resource cost combined with the fact that our first combat achievement we'd get is at 25 KC makes this definitely not worth it. But don't worry, not all is lost. We're here for an entirely different reason. What, you didn't think I was training range for fun, right? We go back to training range and get level 45. Along with that, we do the Eagle's Peak quest. Now we have access to box traps. I go and catch a few great Chinchompas because we've got a plan. Level 45 ranged also just so happens to be the level that you can throw great Chinchompas, so it's time to quickly return to Zulrah. See, the deal is, Zulrah has a combat achievement for killing 3 snakelings at the same time. Now you can RNG this combat achievement through using Rings of Recoil, but a Chinchompa is much more simple. And why not put our range levels to good use? We use our great Chinchompa and we get the Snake combat achievement. Absolutely massive. A lot of range levels gained, a few quests done, a combat achievement, and unlocking Zulrah. I really cannot complain. Slayer. I am never going to be able to escape this skill. In order to kill every boss in the game at least once, we're going to have to kill Alchemical Hydra, which sits at level 95, so Slayer is always going to be in the background being trained, but I need to optimize it. With that being said, the best way to optimize Slayer is to get an imbued Slayer helm. Emphasis on the imbued portion, considering I'm only using magic and range for the time being. So we need to start completing Slayer tasks in order to gain points for the ability to create the Slayer helm. And remember way back earlier when I said it was a godsend that I'm level 73 combat? Yeah, well, it's because you need to be at least level 70 combat in order to take tasks from Sheldar, whose task list is not perfect, but it's much better than Vanika's. We start prepping by buying all the runes in the Varrock rune shop. I'm going to need a lot of these. Then we grab 58 Slayer, the level required to farm black masks off of cave horrors. We pick up 400 points off of doing tasks. We're flying through this, but trust me, doing tasks with magic is slow. This is taking forever. We even ended up getting 60 Slayer out of it. But we finally unlocked the ability to craft a Slayer helm. Yeah, this definitely took a couple of days. The next thing we need to do is complete Cabin Fever so we can kill the cave horrors, which is a pretty distant goal from where I am, so we're going to have to speed run the steps to get there. Cabin Fever has a requirement of 50 smithing, so we start by completing Elemental Workshop 2 for some experience. We grab ice gloves and then we do Sleeping Giants. We craft some swords, getting us 40 smithing. And at 40 smithing, we can smith gold. So we do the Family Crest quest for goldsmith gauntlets, and then we use the blast furnace to get 50 smithing. Still with me? Now we have to do the required quest, starting with Big Chompy Bird Hunting, into Zogre Flesh Eaters, into Rum Deal, into finally completing Cabin Fever. Wow, round of applause everybody. For me though, you're applauding me, but round of applause, come on. It's time to go farm some cave horrors for our black mask. This is super slow with Slayer Dart, but I mean, I'm not giving up now. The drop rate for a black mask is 1 in 512. This should take a few oh, we got it around 100 kills. Nice. We grab an imbuing scroll from the PvP arena and holy shit, it's done. Our imbued Slayer helmet. Maybe Slayer won't be so painfully slow after all. Just kidding, it still will be. But other than that, I'd like to shout out that you can now become a member on this channel. Definitely don't have to join, your viewership is plenty already, but it's super appreciated as each membership pays for about a day's worth of food for me. So a huge thank you to the members that I do have. Other than that, check out my latest Inferno video. It has a surprising ending, and I will catch you next time on Cal.